Hi everyone, welcome back to CrochetRocks, and this is part 2 of my wrap. I'm going to now show you how I'm going to do the border. So this is being done with a 4.5mm crochet hook. You'll also need a pair of scissors and a darning needle. Now I do have the tutorial already up for the wrap. This is just part 2 for the border. So I'll pop up a link which should appear round about now, that will actually take you to the wrap if you want to do that first. Or just for now, I'm going to pause this and clear all this away, ready to get started. But before I do, just want to show you, I'm using the James C. Brett Northern Lights one ball one shawl in double knitting 4.5mm crochet hook. I don't believe if you're starting this project from new that you will get one shawl from this. I think I've used 2 for the whole wrap that I've made, and I did have this little bit left over. I have 3 of these because I always, I don't want to worry about not having enough yarn, so I would have 3. Just you might crochet a lot looser than I do, and you might end up using more yarn. Plus we haven't done the border yet, and I don't think I'll use more than this, but just to be on the safe side, I did have 3. So I'm going to pause it then and clear this away and get started. Okay, so I'm working along the short edge, and you can choose any end that you wish to start from. I've chose this one because there is not already a yarn end, so I'd only have to work over one tail at a time. So I'm just going to insert my hook and bring in my yarn, which I did just have to untangle because I had a bit of a massive yarn bath. Okay, so I'm just going to grab both my tail and my working yarn and do 1 chain and then drop my tail. So I've gone into that very corner stitch, and I'm just simply going to go in there in that same place and do a UK double crochet, which is a US single. And for that first one there are 2 on the hook, 3 on the hook, sorry, because of their going around my both my end and my working yarn. That's it. So get that out of the way. Okay, so now I'm just going to go in. I've done 2 in this corner one, and that's how I'm going to leave it. I'm going to do 3 in each corner, but I'll do 2 in this first corner. So when I come back and I've come all the way around and I get back to this, I can do my 3rd one, and that will leave my working loop in the complete dead center of that corner. And that's just the way I do it, so that it's seamless. So I'm going to just do 1 UK double or US single in each one of my stitches. So it's just yarn into the V, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. That's as simple as that, and I'm going to do that in every single stitch. And you may see there that I am actually working over my tail, so that's very simple. I'm just going to do that in every single stitch all the way along this side. Just like that. Nothing major there. So I'm going to pause it. Now, because this is one of the ends, you've got a stitch to work into all the way along, and it's not until you get along the outer edges where you'll be working along where there are no actual stitches to go into. So I'm going to pause it now. I'm going to work my way all the way along to the very next corner, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so I'm more or less at the end, and so now I've got to the end. This is my tail I was talking about at the opposite end. So I've got 1, 2 more stitches along here. Now this being the end one, I'm going to do 3 UK doubles, which are US single crochets, in that corner. So that enables me to turn the corner. That basically gives you one stitch this side, one in the middle, and one on this long side. So now we're going to be working along here, and I'm going to work over that tail again as well. So just ignore the tail for now. When you look at the stitches, you can see where you can actually pop your hook in to go through and make a stitch. So we're just going to do that all the way along, just taking care to make sure they're the right distance apart. That's really all you can do. There is not any hard and fast area to go into. We just make sure we're putting our yarn in, a hook in rather, in between that stitch along the side, so that we're not making it pull too hard, but they're not too bunched up. So it's just a judgment call, really, and we've got to do that all the way along the side, trying to keep them nice and even like that. So this is a very long edge that we've got to work through, so it would be very boring if you stuck with me throughout this. So I'm going to pause this, and I'm just going to keep going, making sure that on this edge I just pick up between this stitch at regular intervals, keeping that nice and even. So I'm going to pause it then, and I'll carry on all the way along until I get to the next corner, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so I've been all the way along, and I picked up a stitch all the way along there, and I'm now more or less at the end. I could pick up another one, and then we're at the corner. So as this is a proper corner, I'm going to do 3 in the very end stitch. 3 to turn it, and now once again we're working along the shorter edge. Now this is the first row, so it's not quite the same. I've got the stitches here that I began with, so I can see where they are. I can see that this is a chain space, so I can go into this one and do my, so then if you look, you've got a V, so that's where you put, it's a bit baggy but it will close up, and then the next one is a chain space, so you can go in and make a stitch, and then you can see there the long stitch of the V, and we just do this all the way across here until we get to the next corner, and then we'll work along the opposite edge. So that's all we're going to do for now, just one stitch in each one along, and I will pick up with you once I get back to this corner again. Okay, so again we're more or less at the end. Got one more to do in there, and then I'm in the corner, so I'm going to do 3 again in the very corner stitch, if I can find it. There it is. That turns the corner for me. Now we're going back along this long edge again and picking up our stitches at regular intervals. So it's not too difficult. You just got to make sure that you don't make them too far apart or too close together, and you can look at your V's just to make sure that they look right. So this is the long edge again, and it'll be very boring watching me do it, so I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to pick up with you again when we get to our very last corner, and we'll finish off that corner and do our next row. Okay, so I've gone all the way along this side as well, and I'm more or less here at the end. I've got maybe, I am at the end. So I'm going to do my last one in that corner stitch and then slip stitch into my very first stitch. And now we're right in the center of the corner, and that's how I like to finish and start and finish my rounds. That way I'm right in the middle of the corner every single time I go all the way around. So I start off with 2, go all the way around, 3 in each corner, then on my last run up do my last one in that corner, and it finishes you right in the center. So going to chain 1, but I'm going to cinch it right down because I always do that. I don't like it sticking up, pretending to be a stitch. So in this corner one here, I'm going to do 2, because I'm going to do another whole round exactly the same of UK double crochet or US single in each one of the stitches that I've just picked up all the way around. And I'm going to do 3 in the corner, just as I just did before. Go all the way round, and then when I get back to this point, I'm going to finish my corner with the extra 1. And so what I'm going to do is a total of 3 rounds. So I've done 1, starting the second one now. I'm going to go all the way around that and then do another. So I'm going to pause it and come back to you when I've got 3 rows, or rounds should I say, of the UK double or US single. So I think you know how to do the corners and the beginning now, but if not, just come back to this point at 11:45 or just before and recap. But it'll be a bit boring for me just to keep showing you the same thing. You'll be bored with that. So I'll pause it and come back to you once I've done another 2 rounds. Okay, so I'm almost at the end of my 3rd round, so I've got just 1 more to do in this corner, and then I just need to slip stitch into this one, and we're right in the center. Now I'm going to do 2 chain, and I'm going to do a UK treble crochet in the same space. So I'm going back to my V-stitch. Now the way this is going to work is that there will be 3 in each corner. So I'm just going to carry on as I have done now, because that's 1/2 of the corner completed for this first one. All the others will be different, but so that I can do this so that it starts and ends at the corner, I'm just going to finish there. So I'm going to skip 1 and just do 2 UK treble, which is a US double crochet in the next stitch, skip 1 and go into the next one, and I'm going to do this all the way along until I get to the corner, just the same as we did when we were making the actual wrap. Sorry, just bashed the camera with the end of the hook. I did try to use the hook that came free in the magazine. It's really pretty. I did try to use this, but although I just feel very slow with it, it won't make a great deal of difference while I'm doing the tutorial, but it doesn't slip down this quite as easy. It doesn't slip down here quite as easy, and I don't know if it's because they've put writing on it. You know, the 4.5mm is on there, but it doesn't flow quite as well. So I'm going to go back on the knot, a little bit of yarn bath. This yarn, when it's pulled out of the cake, it does tend to, just bear with me, I'm going to go on, pause it while I undo this knot. That's better. It doesn't not so much as twist around itself. So once you've actually got in and pulled it, it's fine. But I think it's because it's been caked up all this time. So I'm just going to carry on, skip 1 and do 2 stitches in the next one, all the way along into my first corner. Now this is the shorter edge, so it shouldn't take too long before we get to the corner. If I go ahead of you, if you're slower than I am, then please just pause it and catch up. This is actually slow compared to how I normally work, because I don't usually work with a big camera in the way, and it's not so easy to see it for me. So just skip one into the next, all the way to the corner. Now I did this border on my wrap gan and I really liked it. The wrap gan wasn't made with the modern V-stitch though, so it did look quite effective. Here we go again. Got this twisting up. Just need to pull out some more to twist up for me. There we are. I'll just loop it around my cattail over there so that it doesn't... I have it looped up in a cat's tail like this. Keeps it away. Just helps keep it straight. So no gizmos, I'm afraid. Just an ornament that I especially adapted for the purpose. Maybe I should go into production and sell those as crocheting aids. Yeah, so this border does look really effective when it's got the rows of UK double crochet or a single crochet US underneath, and do a couple of rows of this and then another band of this. It looks really nice. Breaks it up nicely. But the wrap gown I made was just a rectangular granny square, well, rectangular granny rectangle, should I say, and that broke it up quite nicely. Not far to go, so I'll pause it for just one moment because it's a little boring watching me go all the way to the end, so I shall come back to you in a moment. Okay, so here I am at the corner, so I'm going to skip one, go into the next, and I'm going to do my 2, and I'm going to chain 1 and do another 2 in there. That gets me round the corner and gives me these various places to go in on my next pass round. So I'm just going to carry on skipping 1 and doing 2 in the next one, all the way to the next corner, just as before. So simple as that. I'm going to pause it, and I'll pick up with you when I get to the next corner. Okay, so here we are back at the corner again. So I'm going to skip 1. I'm going to do my 2, 1 chain, and 2 more in the same place, and just keep going. I'll move my crochet so you can see a bit better. It's the trouble when it's big, it gets in the way of itself. So I'm just going to go all the way along to the next corner and do the same thing, and then I will meet up with you. I'm going to pause it now, meet up with you when I get back to the start, and I'll show you how we finish our last corner. So once you get to this one, you do exactly the same thing, and the next one, and if you need to watch that again, I mean, just rewind this little bit, watch that in the corner, and I will catch up with you when we get back to the start. Incidentally, somebody did ask me on my last one, and I thought I'd mention it, that if you get to the end, to the corner, and you don't have the right amount of stitches, maybe you got to skip 1 and go in the next one would put you not in the centre of the corner. How do you remedy that? I just simply do this. Imagine that I'm at the corner. I'm not now, I know, but I would skip 1, go in the next one, yarn over and pull up a loop. Then I just go into the next stitch, pull up a loop, so I've got another one on my hook, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, pull through 2, and then I do my second one in there, and it does get hidden. It does get hidden. So that's how, if I've not got the correct amount of stitches when I get to the end, to make it so that I'm dead centre into the corner with my my extra pair, then that's what I do. It doesn't, you really be hard pushed to see the difference. But that's what I do just to make up the extra space. Okay, so now I'm going to carry on. I won't do that though, because it will be wrong when I get to the other end. I just wanted to show you that because somebody did ask me after I made my wrap gown what happens if that happens. So I just thought I'd mention it. Okay, I've made it all the way round, and I just wanted to bring this in to show you. Now, this is the wrap gown that I made before, and how I did it was with a band of, as I said before, UK double crochets, which are US single. Then I did 2 rows of V-stitch, and then I did another 3 of, actually I think I did 2, no, that's 3 rows. I think I've got this bit here. 3 rows of UK doubles, US singles. So that's what it looks like. If you just get rid of that, that's the border. It's quite a wide border, and I like it. I think it's really pretty. I mean, obviously this was variegated, so it changed colour as I went round, but I like that border a lot. So I wanted to do something similar, but I don't need it to be quite as wide. So this time around, just move all this excess out of the way. Here we are. Go back to the work. Let's get rid of the yarn. I'm just going to do 1 row of the V-stitch and then do my other border, because it's quite, if you think of going around your shoulders as the width, it is quite wide already. So what I'm going to do is just going to finish this off. So skip 1 into the next one, do my last V, and now we're back at the corner. So as you can see, this is where we have done our first V. So I'm going to go back in there and do the second V of the corner. And instead of doing a chain and then slip stitching into there, which would be the equivalent of all the other corners, I'm going to go into the top chain. There's the first one, there's the second. So I'm going to go into that chain and do yarn over, pull it up, and I'm just going to treat that as if you would a UK double or a US single crochet by just going through both of those. So that is exactly the same as all the other corners. We've got our V there, our gap, and our V. The gap on the others is made by the chain, but on here it is created by that US single, UK double crochet. So I'm going to do 1 chain, cinch it down a bit, so I don't want it to be mistaken for a stitch, and I'm going to do 2 UK doubles or US singles into this middle space. So they've got, if you think of our corner as 3 spaces, that space between that V, the space between the 2 sets, and this space. So I'm going to go, just pull it apart and you can see it, go in there, yarn over and pull up my loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to do another one. I'm just going to do 2. All of the corners will consist of 3, but just as before, I want the final one to put me in the dead center of the corner. So that's just going to be 2. Now in between our V's, we're just going to do 1 stitch, and then between the sets, another. Between the V, 1 stitch, between the sets, another. And that's how we're going to go all the way along. We're going to repeat these 3 rows now, but that pulls that apart just enough at the V's and makes a nice little gap between them. I think when I did the other one, I think I just did my 2 stitches in between the V to pull them apart more like this, and then just went into the next V. And if you prefer it that way, you can, but I just think for this particular wrap, it looks a little bit better. I might be undoing 1 too many, but never mind. It looks a little more even this way. So just carrying on doing that all the way to the first corner. Now this is the shorter edge again, so it won't take me too long to get all the way to the corner, but I've got a little ways to go, so I'll pause it And that's all I want you to do, is one between the V's, one inside the V, all the way to the corner. And I will catch up with you when I get to the corner. Here we are at the corner. So we're going to go in, these are our 3. There's the V, the space and the V. So I'm going to just do exactly the same. One there. But when I get to this point, I'm going to do 3 inside that middle space. And then 1 in there. And then 1 between. And 1 in the V. Until we get to the next corner. And then I'm going to do exactly the same as we did before. So do you see, it goes around the corner quite nicely that way, and it pulls them apart. It'll look more apart when we get to the next few rows. So I'm going to carry on now, go all the way along, and I'm going to do 3 in each corner. If you need to remind yourself how to do the corner, just watch this one again. But it's very simple. We're going in between the V and between the V's. So we're going in the V and between them, in the V and between them. And then when we get to the corner one, it's 3. And then we're just going to go back to our 1 in the space, 1 in the V. Okay, so I'm going to carry on, go all the way around, and I'll catch up with you when we get back to the beginning, and I'll show you how we go to the next level. Okay, so I'm almost at the end. Last one. So now I'm back at that corner where there are 2. I'm going to finish off my last one, so that's 3. And now I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch there. So those are the 2 that we did in the beginning, 1 and 2. I'm going to slip stitch into this one, and that will put me dead center of that corner. I'm going to chain 1 and cinch it down, and again go into the same stitch and do my 2, so that when I finish that corner on the way back round, once I've gone all the way round, I'll do exactly the same thing. So now I'm just going to do 2 more rows, going in every single one of these stitches all the way around, and doing 3 in the corner, coming all the way round, finishing off my last stitch of this corner, slip stitching into this one here, 1 chain, cinch it down, and do it again. So I'm going to go all the way around for the next 2 rows, and I will catch up with you once I get back to the start. If you are a bit worried about any part of it, then obviously you can rewind it and see how we went, but this is just basically the same as these rows here. Okay, so I'm almost all the way back round, just got a few last stitches to do, and then I've come all the way back to the start on this 3rd round. So I'm going to go in, complete my 3rd stitch of the corner, just do a slip stitch into that one, the next stitch, and lost the scissors, so just bear with me 1 second. I have my scissors, so just going to leave a nice long tail and cut this off, and then do 1 chain, cinch it down, pull it through, and now all that remains is to sew in this end and any others that I've had through joining another yarn cake. So this is now the border. If I get something, this will do because it's a nice different colour. If I put that under there, that sort of stops you from seeing the other one at the back. So that's how it'll look. It's just a simple little border, but I really like it. Obviously if it's up against, you know, the light, then you can see it more clearly. Thought that the green would allow you to see, but it's just dark. So that's how it looks with just 1 row, with 1 row of the V-stitch and Again, this is with 2. It does look nice with 2, but I didn't want it to be such a wide border because it would make it kind of a lot wider. And it's really quite big enough, this wrap, so that's how I'm going to do it with 1. But you can do it with 1, 2 or 3. It's just, I think it's quite effective. I like that as a border. So that's it, that's all done. So now the wrap's complete, just got to sew my ends in, and it's all done. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll be informed when the new videos and live streams, etc. So thank you so much, and until the next one, bye bye for now.